Hey guys, today we're going to talk about two ways and questions to ask a psychopath if you think someone's a psychopath. That take 2 minutes and you can figure it out. And kind of my idea about, or I guess my opinion about, how accurate they are and ways to do it and ways not to do it. Right? Like, I'm gonna have a disclaimer, two disclaimers right off the bat here. Number one, you don't want to be doing any poking, prodding, or even like depending on where you are with these questions that are very out of your, if you're an empath or you're just kind of a more like ignorant kind of person to these dark tetrad people. You don't want to do this to somebody that you might harm you, or you're in a situation where you are going to be stuck and won't be able to, it's unsafe, right? And the second caveat is you don't want to look at this as like you answered the question, the person answered the question wrong, i.e. they are leaning towards being a psychopath. Again, they're leaning towards it. And even if they are, by definition, they're not inherently bad. It's just, the word psychopath is now ASD because, again, like I said in another video, it might be the only dilution of a word that might actually make sense, because that word has been in different ways, right? But psychopath, you think about American Psycho, or the old Psycho movie, or American Psycho. You think about killing and all. It's very rarely the case. I shouldn't say very rarely, but more often than not, these people have a lot of friends. They're in society and they're not necessarily doing much harm. Having said that, here we go. So the first question, and this is what I just heard on a podcast, which I don't know, maybe I'm being a little, not prejudiced, what is it called? Taking someone else's work, whatever that word is. And plagiarizing. And that one was, so you answer the question, right? So there's a guy goes to a funeral, just some random person's funeral. He's at the funeral, and there's a woman there that's very beautiful, that they make eye contact, and you can tell that there's like a connection. 2 weeks later, he murders that woman's mother. Why? This one kind of seems ridiculous to me, because you can answer whatever thing, but apparently if you answer the question, he did it so he could see that woman again. Then, if that person answers the question like that, that means that they're a sociopath technically. Which I guess it manifests differently, but I answered that question correctly. Full disclosure. And that one's silly because that one's really bad. So I wouldn't go with that one. I think that one was, and this is kind of the point of the video, is like, this is pseudoscience. This is like, it's kind of garbage, but that's why I wanted to open the dialogue about it, because I do think there is some people that might, are on algorithms that might watch videos and just take things like way too literal. It's easy to do nowadays, as we have echo chambers. So anyway, that's why I want to preface the video with, like, that's a dumb one. I think that would only be in any way accurate if you were to, have a very, like, maybe more narcissist. I don't know. I don't buy. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm deducing like that sociopath has to be pretty. Well, I guess sociopaths tend to have less. They have less awareness, like a narcissist, right? The way I look at sociopathy, it's like a middle ground between psychopathy and narcissism, in that you're a narcissist, but you've had such bad environmental harm done to you that you're capable of shutting off empathy and not having empathy, and you're able to basically become, have psychopathic lack of empathy, but you just weren't you weren't born that way, and so that malevolence is manifested through environment, whereas a psychopath may have, not may have, is born that way, from my understanding, by definition. So they don't necessarily have sadistic intent, they just have no empathy. So that's why that would be so in theory that would be a sociopath that may answer that question like that, because they don't actually care. And so maybe, I'll say maybe. This is the second one. This is one I actually really like. This one's more for narcissism, but it can work. This one works. Again, I am not a professional. I'm a guy on YouTube, but I'm trying to be genuine and figuring out the world, and I hope this helps, and this is my understanding, okay? So don't get, but I like to think I know what I'm talking about to an extent, at least about the framing and a healthy way of looking at about personality disorders and navigating it and understanding blah, blah, blah. Okay, so having said that, this one works on all three. Narcissism, no one talks about histrionic. It's not cool, it's not trendy. But it's one of them, and it's just a lot more nuanced. So whatever, for the sake of that argument, narcissism, sociopathy, psychopath, right? You want to find out, you want to have an idea, you want to test someone a little bit. Maybe you'll say it on a date. This is actually really good on a date. Holy shit, I'm gonna crash my car. Let's crash my car. Be as cool as that one guy. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm definitely gonna use this on dates, although it's kind of rude. But it's no more rude than an interviewer asking an interviewee, tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, that's I've always hated that question. I don't like that question because it's not forthright. It's manipulative, but not necessarily manipulative. But anyway, so I'm like building this up for you guys. All right, this is a good one. Ask it on a date. Ask it to your roommate, somebody you might have live with you, someone you really want to see where their head's at. And all right, here we go. So I love this one. Ask somebody, if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday, how would you feel? And it's really important that you say it exactly like that. As far as the wording. And so if somebody asks or somebody answers that question with, oh, I ate breakfast yesterday, yeah, I'm not hungry. Or, I don't know, I didn't eat breakfast yesterday, I feel fine. Or, I don't know, I like, whatever. They don't answer the question, right? They just say, the idea is that if you answer that question with anything but, I would probably feel hungry, or I probably would feel fine, because I don't usually eat breakfast. They're more likely, because that's a person that can think in hypotheticals. And typically somebody who's, especially a psychopath, narcissist, all three I kind of put in the same amount of weight. It's essentially you're not able to think outside yourself. You're not able to think about hypotheticals. It works really well with, honestly, the way I look at it is, fun-loving narcissistic women, just psychopathic women that are just like very in, like, these OnlyFans models, these like very just like Jezebel energy women that they can't even wrap their head around that question. And that's a good one, because the longer you kind of talk about it, and you can just reframe the question too. Not even reframe, you can just re-ask the question. Don't tell them I actually feel like kind of a sociopath with this one. I told that one to my therapist. Of course, she passed, and I explained it, and I'm glad she humored me, which is a good sign, because that means her ego isn't, you know, there's nothing worse than an egocentric person in power, especially in psychotherapy. That's not good. But anyway, so they answer the question. So you're talking to a girl at dinner, right? And you go, you know, if you didn't eat breakfast, you're having breakfast together, like, oh, this food's really good. You're just hanging out. It's like, hey, if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday, how would you feel? Or that's, and obviously how you say it can kind of, you know, that's kind of like, someone might be more likely to ask that or answer that as in, they'd be more likely to answer that like, oh, like, without the hypothetical, if you just said it like that. But anyway, once you ask the question, and then they say, you know, how do you, if you didn't have breakfast yesterday, sorry, the coffee, I haven't had coffee today. If you haven't had coffee, if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday, how would you feel? And they say, well, I did eat breakfast yesterday. And you go, that's not, and then you go, okay. And then you just, well, that's not what I asked you. Like, if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday, how would you feel? And the longer it takes them to not get it, it either means they just kind of, it could be maybe, frankly, maybe a little bit lack of intelligence at that point, or it can show to the degree that they are narcissistic, sociopathic, or psychopathic. And again, the reason for this video is to create a dialogue around both an awareness of, and it's a good test for people that have been kind of ignorant to, you know, dark energy in the world, dark tetrad, and to kind of like, you know, give yourself some awareness and some tools. But also it's, again, it's not the human psyche is not ones and zeros, and depending on the day, depending on the environment, for like the best example right at the top of my head is BPD. I mean, here's a BPD test. Good luck with that shit, because if it's 87% curable, that means at any given time you could be on that spectrum. Full disclosure, I've been diagnosed with BPD, and I had every single one at one point, and now I think if I had to do the test, I mean, I've never been better in my entire life. So it's like, again, and I think it's good to destigmatize certain things, not blaming, not using your whatever diagnoses as a, you know, as a trump card or a whatever, a badge of honor. It's more of to understand each other is only going to make the world better. And anyway, off the soapbox here, those questions are they're just kind of tools. They're kind of fun, and they're kind of rude. I don't know, especially if your intent is what it is. But yeah, don't take it, you know, I would look at it just like the interview question. You know, if you ask somebody, tell me a little bit about yourself, and they just freak out, they're like, what do you want to know? And they just talk about themselves. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a bad employee, although you can kind of see signs. And so that's what I would say about that. Anyway, here I am at my cafe, usual hangout. I grab some fucking pancakes. So yeah, that's the video for today, guys. I'm gonna crash my car real quick. We're gonna have a party. Oh my gosh, no parking. All right, so that's the video. 2 questions to ask somebody you may think has dark tetrad tendencies, or might be cluster B personality. And the first one was kind of more of me thinking out loud because I just heard it on a podcast from Megyn Kelly. Full disclosure, if you look up Megyn Kelly, so if you want to watch it, that's the reason for the video. I saw that, and it reminded me of some the second one I told you, which I actually find useful. I find there's some value there, and anecdotally, it seems to have some more consistency. So I would go with the second one, and the first one's kind of funny though. Anyway, have a great one, guys. Stay strong out there, and boundaries up. Ooh, maybe that's my catchphrase. It just came naturally. Boundaries up. I'm gonna have boundaries as the catchphrase, I think. Never forget your boundaries. Boundaries are your weapon. I'm gonna figure something out with that one. Let me know in the comments if you guys are still in here. You might actually love me if you're in here this long. No, I'm just kidding. That's weird. All right. Yeah, let me know. Damn it. The video's going so well. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestion for a future video. If you want to support me, I don't plan on stopping. I'm going to keep investing in this channel. I want to, I'm becoming very passionate about this shit. Yeah. Ask a question down below. And we'll see you in the next one, guys. All right, take care.